Hey, welcome back to Livin MN Outdoors. I'm Daniel, and thanks for tuning in to another fishing report. Well, it is finally that time of the year. A bunch of the resorts are starting to let out wheelhouses. We will discuss that in this week's report. But before that, if you guys could, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Facebook. And if you use any of the resorts or guides mentioned in today's report, please let them know you saw them on Livin MN Outdoors. And with that being said, let's dive into this week's fishing report. All right, this week we're going to start up on Lake Winnie out of the Pines Resort. I talked with Chad this morning, and they currently have 14 to 15 inches of ice in Tamarack Bay. Now, that does not include out beyond Tamarack Point or the river channel. That is just for Tamarack Bay. As far as vehicle restrictions for this week, they are going to be allowing half-ton trucks pulling single axle wheelhouses or side-by-sides pulling up to 21-foot tandem wheelhouses. Now, once again, half-ton trucks pulling single axle wheelhouses and side-by-sides pulling up to 21-foot tandems. Now, as far as the fishing goes out there, the bite has been very good, with the average size definitely bigger than it has been in the past few years. The walleye are nice and big, the perch are big, they're catching some really nice panfish, and we will go over where and how they are catching those. Starting with the walleye, the best walleye bite is still in that 9 to 10 feet of water on the sand to grass transitions. Best way to catch those walleyes, pink, purple, or white buckshot spoons tipped with a minnow head, or on a dead stick with either a red hook or a pink and white jig tipped with a shiner, rainbow, or a really small sucker minnow. Now, the walleye bite is better those first couple of hours in the morning, and then at sunset and beyond, they are catching a bunch of really nice walleyes. Now, as far as the perch bite goes, 8 to 11 feet of water. Best ways to catch them, it does kind of differ day to day. A 5mm tungsten jig with a wax worm or a minnow head is working. Otherwise, a small buckshot spoon tipped with a minnow head or several wax worms is working as well. Now, as far as northern pike, the northern pike are absolutely everywhere. They're still biting on absolutely everything. If you guys want to get out and catch some pike or spear some pike, the Pines Resort does have some spear house rentals available. So give Chad a call and look into that. Now, as far as the panfish bite goes, bluegills and crappies, 6 to 10 feet of water, and the weeds are absolutely key. You need to be directly on the weed line or up in a pocket of the weeds. Best ways to catch those crappies and bluegills, a small tungsten jig tipped with a waxworm or some Euro larva, and you might catch yourself some really big panfish. Now, as far as eel pout, the eel pout really are tough to predict the bite on them. Some guys are still picking them up in that 9 to 11 feet of water. If you want to better your odds as the sun is setting, put a dead stick right down on bottom. Jig a little closer to bottom if you're jigging a buckshot spoon, especially if it is a glow spoon, and you might take into a beautiful eel pout. Now, as far as the amenities the Pines Resort has to offer, they do have day houses, spear houses like I mentioned. They got live bait, cabins, full bar and restaurant, whatever you could ask for, they have it. So if you're looking to get up to Lake Winnie this coming weekend or the rest of the season, go ahead and call Chad from the Pines Resort. Now, if you're looking to rent a sleeper house out on Lake Winnie, zupsguideservice has 4 or 5 beautiful wheelhouses he's renting out this year. He's going to be starting right after Christmas with those rentals. He does have some weekend availability still. So if you want to get out on Lake Winnie, chase some perch, walleye, eel pout, probably catch a bunch of pike, go ahead, give Scott a call and get something booked with Zups Guide Service. All right, now moving over to Leech Lake, we will start with Horseshoe Bay Lodge. They are located on the main lake. They currently have an ice average of 11 to 13 inches of ice, but they are going to remain closed for this weekend. They're closely watching some cracks and heaves out on the ice, and they are going to err on the side of caution for this weekend, but then plan to open up the weekend of December 27th. Now, Horseshoe Bay Lodge, they do have hotel rooms. They have large group housing, full bar and restaurant. They're going to have some live music, bunch of meat raffles, stuff like that in the bar. So go ahead, check out their Facebook page and stay in touch if you're looking to get up on Leech Lake out on the main lake. Now, moving over to Acorn Hill Resort, they still have that 11 to 13 inches of ice, and just like Horseshoe, they are monitoring some heaves and cracks out on Traders Bay as well. And like Horseshoe Bay Lodge, Acorn Hill Resort is going to remain closed this coming weekend to err on the side of caution. Now, they do plan to open up the following weekend, December 26th. That's actually a Thursday. And once they do, they are hoping to be able to open up to half tons pulling single axle wheelhouses, or maybe a little bit bigger depending on how the ice progresses. Now, if you're looking to get up to Leech Lake on Traders Bay, Acorn Hill Resort, they have some absolutely beautiful cabins to rent up there. They have guided perch trips. Just an absolute blast fishing out on that bay. We were out there last weekend and the perch bite was on fire. We did pick up some nice walleyes as well, and as far as where to find those walleyes, we were set up in 14 to 15 feet of water on the top side of break lines. And then for the perch, we were on sand to mud transitions in 14 to 16 feet of water. Best ways to catch both the walleye and the perch was small buckshot spoons. Specifically Purple Wonder and Glow Pink were working extremely well, and then a plain red hook with a rainbow minnow was producing a bunch of fish as well. Now, like I said before, guys, Acorn Hill Resort, they are remaining closed for this coming weekend, but opening back up on Thursday, December 26th. So if you're looking to get up to Leech Lake out of Traders Bay, go ahead and call Kyle from Acorn Hill Resort. All right, moving over to Mille Lacs Lake. The ice on Mille Lacs is progressing very nicely. On the southern end of the lake in the bays, a lot of people are starting to allow out half-ton trucks with single axle wheelhouses, even a few letting out limited tandem axle wheelhouses as well. The areas that they're allowing out side-by-sides and ATV are extending further and further out into the lake each and every day, and the bite is starting to pick up. Now, as far as the walleye bite, the shallow water walleye bite in the bays, there are a lot of little 8 to 12 inch walleyes being caught, and we need to be very careful to protect those fish. So if you are catching those, quickly get them back in the water and handle them as careful as possible. Now, as far as the bigger walleyes, the further out onto the main lake structure you can get, the better off you are. There is a ton of bait fish out there right now, and those walleyes are very finicky. Now, some guys are picking up a big one here and there, even getting some of them slot fish, but you're going to have to put your time in. And some of the best areas to target them, over on the north end, that first break on the sand is producing some fish. Over on the west side, some of them shoreline points in that 16 to 22 feet of water is producing some nice fish. And then, like I said, in the southern bays, they are picking up a few here and there. And 14 to 20 feet of water is the best depth to find those. Best ways to catch them. Pink and white glow spoons are the best way to catch walleyes out there right now. Some guys are using purple or white as well and having some luck with those. But the king on Mille Lacs Lake is the dead stick. Shiners or small sucker minnows on a plain red hook on a tip up or a bobber line is working the best. So if you're going to go out there, make sure you have some of them sucker minnows or shiners, and you might catch yourself some really nice walleyes. Now, as far as the perch bite goes, there are millions and millions of little perch out there, and it is tough to avoid them. But in those little perch are some really nice jumbo perch mixed in. They are getting those on some of them smaller jigging spoons, but tungsten jigs tipped with some waxworms or a minnow head is producing some really nice perch right now. You really got to sort through them small ones to get to them, but they are out there and they are willing to bite if you can get your bait to them. Now, as far as the pike bite goes, the southern bays are absolutely loaded with nice pike right now. That 12 foot and less on weed lines is producing some absolute giant pike. Big sucker minnows are working well, or smelt will work too. Soak that anywhere from 1 foot to 4 foot off bottom, and you're more than likely going to tag into some big pike. Now, if you guys do make it out fishing, just want to remind you, be respectful of other fishermen. Don't crowd your neighbor. Do not throw your trash on the ice. Don't dump your sewage out there as more and more ice castles are venturing out. Find a dump station. Don't dump your sewage out on the lake. That is a loser move. And you're gonna ruin it for everybody. When you do get out there and you catch some fish, take some pictures, send them to us on Facebook or to our email. We really do appreciate it, and we will feature you in next week's fishing report. Hope you guys make it out. We are wishing you a very Merry Christmas. Enjoy the holidays, be safe, and don't forget to get on out there and get living.